Today we'll be looking at how to add your first class in Google Classroom. So the first thing you should do is there's many ways you can get to Google Classroom. Once you get to it, I would suggest putting it on your taskbar up here or your apps bar. Um, but you can either do a Google search by saying Google Classroom and just have your students click on that and that will load it, or go straight into it by typing classroom.google.com, and any of those ways will get you into the classroom. Now, I already have a bunch of classes, but yours would probably look something like this. And so this is the one that your classroom would look like this if you have no classrooms yet, and you would click on the plus sign to get your first class. But let's go through mine here. And it actually shows all my different classes, but I still have a plus sign here. So I'm going to click on the plus sign. Now, if you just want your students to join a class, you would click on this one here, but I'm going to actually create a class. Now, when you go to create a class, your very first class, you want to think about this, because right at this moment, you cannot organize these files, and the first created will end up being your last file down here. Like this one was my first one created, and then this one, then this, and so on. So this one was my last one created. So you want to think about that, how you name them, things like that, before you even start. Eventually, they say they'll give us the option to organize it, but for now, you don't have that. So go ahead and click on Create Class. This is where you're going to name your class. Again, think about how you want to name it. Most often, teachers I see do, like I have the other one, Earth Science, and this one would be maybe, if you go by blocks, block 1A, because there's an A and B day. You can put a section in here. You can put a subject. In this case, it would be Earth Science, and then just say create. Once it comes up, it'll come into the class like this. You can edit this class so the look is different by doing select a theme. So you select the theme, and there's different themes you can have on here depending on what class it is. You can use patterns if you wanted to. But in this case, since it's Earth Science and this is a nice picture of Earth, I think I'll stay with that. You can also upload your own photo, but it has to fit this format of how tall and wide this would be, and a certain amount of pixels, things like that. So let's look at the first part. First part is your stream. Of course, I don't have any assignments yet, and this would be where work that's coming up due would be here. If you assign a topic to a certain piece of work, that's probably a good thing, because students can search according to that. And then in the stream, you could show deleted items if you want. Most often, I don't do that. This is the first part that you're going to want to be familiar with, about how you invite your students. Now, you can send personal invites to them, but in this case, you wouldn't use that. I would always use this class code that you have right here, and all your students will do is they will go to that plus sign, they will say join a class, and they will put in this code right here to join your class. Okay, but you can invite them. If you do have a list of students here that you can add them right there with the list. But again, this code is the easiest way for them to do it. Then on the About page, you can put a class description here if you wanted to. You can put a room in here. All those are options. You can invite, if you have a co-teacher, you can invite her to be part of this or him to be part of this class. And then once you fill in all of that information, you can say save, and it goes to this part right here. Now, if you ever want to change any information, just look for the three dots. You can click on it and say edit, and you can always go back and edit everything in here. What I do want to call your attention to is that it sets up a calendar for each class. If you want to view the calendar in classroom mode, that's very few options. It's better to look at it in the Google Calendar. That gives you more options that you can see. But the big thing I want to show you is notice that for each class that you make, it makes its own folder on the Google Drive. So if I click on this, it goes to my Google Drive, and as it comes up, you see that I'm in my Drive, Classroom, and then this different class here. But let's go ahead and go to my Drive, and I want to show you how you go to it. So you look down to Classrooms, and every class that you make, notice I have all these classes. Every class you make, it actually builds a folder, and that's where all your work is going to go from your students. So that's very important about that. Okay. So anyway, here's my classes. This is the one that I just created, Earth Science Block 1A. And let's go back into that. So if I click on that, I go back into it. And again, you could change all that information. This is the About tab again, where that is. But most often, you're going to be in this Stream tab where all your assignments are going to be. All right, so that's starting your first class. If you need to go back to your classes, they call it the 3 hot dogs up here. Click on that, and it shows you all your classes here, but you can just click on classes, and then it will show you all your classes there. Okay, hope that's helpful.